happy Kilkenny man this morning, Aidan Taggy Fogarty. How are you?
Lads, how are you getting on?
Good.
Did you have a few celebratory pints?
I didn't actually, no. I was caught in traffic too much getting out of Dublin, and by the time I got down, all I wanted was a bag of chips. So I got me chips. And I'm like a player now, just getting a bag of chips and going home.
Were all the Kilkenny WhatsApp groups hopping after that game yesterday?
No, they weren't actually. No, surprisingly enough. We're kind of gone quiet. We're going to get a little bit older now, and lads have kids and babies and stuff. So they just watch the match and go home and do their own thing. So no, there wasn't much going on. I met Tommy after the game, all right. And he was delighted. He was high-fiving me there and everything. So he's delighted. That's it for Parry coming on and getting the score and everything. So look, it was a great win. Fairness, we're under pressure, but we're a great win.
Taggy, just on the support, like you were probably fairly outnumbered. It was probably 3-1 in there yesterday. Like, are you? Like I was like you were used to the success 7 or 8 years ago. But I thought there'd be a massive crowd getting behind this team with the chance of an All-Ireland final and that.
Yeah, no, you're dead right. Like on the 50th minute, was it, when our 51st minute when they went ahead, that roar went up, and I was like, God, we're 4-1 here easily. Like, and even looking across there, it was all clear jerseys. Kilkenny people, yeah, they go to matches, but I don't know whether we're a small county or not. I don't know, but the support, I don't know whether they're not going to Croke Park or they just feel we're going to get beaten. I don't know, but I even be worried about 2 weeks' time. I was at the All-Ireland last year, and Limerick were absolutely everywhere towards Kilkenny. I'd say it's 4-1 again, and that's for an All-Ireland final. So I was disappointed in the support in general, and you could see the Clare crowd were there in their draws, but they don't be up in Croke Park. Oh, that's not a dig at them. Like, it's just the way that Munster hurling, like, they're not in Croke Park every year, so they get their day out and they go up. But from a Kilkenny point of view, I'd be hoping people will go to their Ireland now.
What did you make of Owen Cody's performance as an inside forward yourself to hit 1-5? Like, he's kind of fully fulfilling his potential at this stage.
He is, lads. He was unreal. Now he was getting good quality ball in, like not exceptional quality ball, but he was working for it. But the thing for me with Owen Cody, he was dispossessing guys. Even when Adam Hogan was out in front, or Rory Hayes when he was on him was out in front, he was still getting the little flick, still willing that kind of 50-50 ball, turning and putting lower the bar. And the scores he was getting, like, he was off his shoulder, he was out on his sideline. Even the goal he took, like he had milliseconds to take that goal. John Conlon was just about to get the hook, and he just, the hand touch, bang, back of the net. He's in phenomenal form. He's obviously captain for Kilkenny, and I don't know what kind of a fella he is to speak, if he speaks in dressing rooms, or whatever the case may be, if he's a leader in that way. But he's definitely a leader on the pitch. He's definitely coming to age. He's probably in line for Hurler of the Year. Depends who wins the Ireland now. Gillan and himself are probably top runners for Hurler of the Year. But he's so strong. He's phenomenal. Good in the air, left and right, really good. And he's our outball. He really is. Kilkenny players, if you look at him, Richie Reid there when he was sweeper looking up, who was he hitting into? He was hitting to Owen Cody. They were definitely targeting him. He's our top forward.
It always just make some difference, Taggy, if you're a Kilkenny back, I can put this to the clouds, and I've got like Tom Phelan's actually a very good hand. Martin Keown wasn't right, but he is a very good hand. John Donnelly generally does too. Billy Ryan caught great ball. TJ Reid, obviously, Owen Cody, Wally Walsh, you name it. Whereas the other end of the field, and this is part of the reason I couldn't understand Aaron Shanahan not coming in sooner. Like, at times you're looking for a long ball on top of Ian Galvin, Mark Rogers. Now Shane O'Donnell can catch the ball, but like, there's a lot of smaller players, and they're up against the likes of Hugh Lawler, who put it high on me all day. Like, there must be some relief when you can just have that release valve of driving the ball up the field.
There is. Look, there's 2 outballs for Kilkenny, basically. And Kilkenny, like you're saying, are brilliant in the air, and we are very good in the air and have been very good over the years, and it's one of our best traits. And Kilkenny play to it. Even in my time, he said there was no tactics, but you're lumping a high ball on top of Henry Sheffler and Martin Comfrey. That's a tactic, because it's a high ball and they're 2-3 foot over the other player. But they're also very skillful on the ground. They can win it both ways, and they can win their own possession when it breaks. And I felt, even for that the Clare game yesterday, even for Tony Kelly doesn't seem to strike against Kilkenny. Obviously, he didn't man-marked against Mikey Butler, doing a very good job. But Tony Kelly's man-marked every day he goes out. So why doesn't it happen against Kilkenny? I feel that Kilkenny are actually better on the breaks. That breaking ball, that 50-50, we're better able to read it. And Tony makes the run, like he makes his dash and run to the left and right-hand side. But there's Kilkenny man also making the run there, because he's reading it really well as well. So we can read the game really, really well as well. But you talk about the high ball, it's definitely a benefit. And, you talk about Clare yesterday, they were, I felt it, look, it's a game of 2 halves, lads, really. It was the sweeper system that really hampered Clare's chances of winning that game. I felt they were looking up Shane O'Donnell, and as you said, Shane, the outball of the high ball into the square with only one man there, that's no good at all. Richie Reid is sitting in front of him. So the whole play was kind of static, as in they were going lateral. They were getting out to a point, then they were looking up and what's going on, so they're going lateral, and then Kilkenny was breaking around, turning over possession and putting them under attack. And then when they went 15 on 15, the whole thing just opened up, and Clare just went for it really.
Michael.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of an echo there in the background of your microphone there, Aidan, a small bit. But we might just ask you. It could be you, Shane. Yeah. Owen Murphy, Taggy. Like when the game was there to be won, or the game was there to be saved. Like, my God, I'm sure you've seen plenty of things in Nolan Park and training and that, but to do it when the need was great, so it's unbelievable save. And as we said earlier on, like, it's literally been shared worldwide, like, now, because people are just totally, they're looking at it and they're like, how in Jesus this man done this?
Lads, it's one of the greatest moments I've ever seen in Croke Park, and it wasn't just because it was a Kilkenny moment. It was the greatest save I've seen in Croke Park. And as you said, Michael, the enormity and the context of the actual moment that was in, at Ireland semi-final, they were down by 3. To get that was going to draw them up. They were coming into injury time. A huge moment. And then the whole strike, like Peter Duggan to even connect with that ball and connect so well with it, like that was huge. And straight away, you don't know where that ball is going. Like, when anyone volumes on the ball, it can hit the ground, it can hit top corner, it can go absolutely anywhere. And to come through a sea of people then as well. So Owen wouldn't have had a whole lot of time to even see that ball. It came through a mass of bodies. And then there's athleticism just to kind of jump. And even he didn't just stop it and bat it out. If you look at it, he flicked his wrist slightly, just to lift that ball slightly up, hit the crossbar and out. It was just a phenomenal moment. And you were there, obviously, I met you last night, and the crowd didn't know whether it just came off the crossbar or it was a save. And then when it was on the big screen, you could just hear the whole crowd going, "Oh my God, he actually saved it." So like you could just put the All-Star in his back pocket straight away. Like, it was just a moment. And the scenes, or look at the scene, what's coming in on Twitter and everything. It was a brilliant. And look, Murphy, sure, no, he's a gas man. He's a gentleman off the field. But and even during the game, the first half, made a really good save. I think was off Shane O'Donnell he came in for
early in the second half, actually. I think
second half,
came up, really good save there. And even there was a point was going over the bar, and he jumped off his feet and caught the ball, didn't even bring out his heart, just caught it really secure. And his distribution and his striking, lads, he has everything. He's a phenomenal goalie, and that save will go down in history. And it was, as you said, lads, was the context of it. If Clare got that, they probably could have pushed on and won the game. And you talk about big calls, and you talk about big calls in the game and different moments in the game. Conor Fogarty's block, like, that just emphasizes what Kilkenny's all about. You talk about work rate, you talk about getting that hard ball. And I know there's blocks, and every team is doing it, and there's blocks and hooks, but that was a huge momentum swing as well. It was just that was like, well, we're not going to be bet here today. And you can see Owen Murphy, we're now patting him on the back. Hugh Lawler went over. That's what it means to him, and that's what they're kind of working on. And you talk about tactics and matchups, and of course you're going to have that styles of play. But I think when at the end of the game, managers mostly talk about possessions won, hooks, blocks. Talk about Kylie's always talking about. That's what it comes down to, kind of, and the hunger, and that was the hunger that Conor had. And Conor's there years, and he's still doing it. Like, I was delighted for him, a warrior.
And Taggy, like, they often talk about GA being more of a kind of a family thing. You see professional soccer and all that kind of stuff, and players are going to different teams and all this kind of stuff, and you wonder about loyalties. After the game, Owen Murphy's there, and his mother is out on the pitch. I saw a headline in the there was a picture of that on the back of the Star with the headline, "The mother of all saves," or whatever. But it's a family sort of thing as well, which kind of adds to it even more.
It is. Look, sure, it's the GA community. His mother's mad now, by the way. She'd be out now. She'd be having a few drinks at him during the day. So, and a mad hurling family, a really nice family. Like, oh God, don't get me wrong, just genuine, and the relation to the powers, like, it's just in the breeding down there. They just love hurling, and that's what it's all about. And I seen the picture actually you're talking about. Yeah, I'd say he didn't get a hug like that even when he was out last night. No, he wouldn't even got a hug like that. So I'd say he was delighted. But it's a family thing. Look, it's the GA. I was up early. It's the old cliche, the tea and the sandwiches. I thought them days are gone, lads, but them Clare boys brought it back yesterday to a whole new level. I think even coming down out of Croke Park yesterday, they were parked in the motorway having tea and sandwiches. I was like, lads, it's before the match. That's when you have them. But look, it was, and as you said, my own brother, I went up with him there, and his own kids are up there as well. And like, they're at an age where I don't even know whether they're actually enjoying the match, but they definitely enjoyed moments of the match, and they enjoyed the crowd, and they enjoyed the atmosphere. So it's brilliant. But it is, a family thing. And I suppose as an inter-county player, you know, you get a bit of criticism. Like all they want you to do is just play well, and nothing kind of go wrong for you, you know, because like I'm saying, like, lads didn't turn up, lads didn't play well. I've been there, lads, and like all your family want to do is, look, I hope it goes well for you, and that's all they ever say to you. They don't want you to have a man in the match performance. They just don't want you to kind of be maybe taken off or get a bad injury, or, you know, do something kind of bad and lose a game for someone. Because as an individual and a person, you see social media, lads, it's so bad that it can have a real bad effect on lads. So like, your family are there, they just want you to do okay, and the result, yeah, they want you to win, but like, it's just all about your own son and your own daughter, albeit with the camogie and stuff, and they're just looking out for you. And you have lads in the stand maybe saying, he's used to take him off, I've been there, Philip, your own brother, my father and stuff. And so what do you do? Lads don't realise the bigger thing, I suppose, the bigger picture of family.
Oh, it's very stressful to watch on. If you have a family member playing in some of these big games, the stress, when you see a high 50-50 ball going in, you're like this, oh, Jesus. You're just hoping that they get through it. Like, Taggy, we were talking about the first half and Clare, and, you know, you've already commented on the sweeper that not really going for the game. And maybe we kind of said, maybe they put him in there because they weren't sure about Conlon, they weren't sure about Cleary, also what happened with the high ball last year. So obviously they didn't do it for no reason, but it was like the sideline cuts that Clare hit straight to Kilkenny. There was 4 of them. It was like the shooting from under the stand, 90 yards out under pressure. It was even like the scores that they gifted to Kilkenny early in the game. I just thought there was a few times they just gifted the ball to you, like hitting the ball straight to Richie Reid, then straight away Kilkenny would just pop it over the bar. Like, do you think that there's a problem with Clare on the big days? Last year they didn't deliver. They've lost tight games against Limerick in Munster finals. Maybe it's been a little bit harsh, but like, they've only won 6 Munster finals out of 30 final appearances. Is there a problem on the big day with Clare?
Yeah, look, I suppose before the match was done, I've done a few things, and I spoke about exactly what you said. I spoke about kind of the big day, the intensity of Croke Park. I do think Croke Park is a factor with this Clare team and Clare in general. They haven't done well since probably 2013. They won the All-Ireland, obviously, but since then, you know, they haven't showed up.
Haven't won a game there since. Haven't won a game there since. Drew in 18, beaten, hammered last year and beaten yesterday.
Yeah, there you go. So straight away, it's Croke Park factor. And you're right, it's the smallest margin. Look at Kilkenny yesterday, and I'll go back to your point. They were so clinical in what they were doing. Like, even free take, like Mark Rogers missed an easy free in the first 10 minutes. Like, and that was like, God, is this going to be the same Clare? And you could see the crowd even kind of feeding off and going, oh God, that was an easy free. And it was an easy free. And then you see TJ just immaculate from all over the field, like, you know, potting them. So like straight away, that was it. Giving away possession kind of easily, kind of aimlessly. You talk about the smallest margins, and I suppose you look at the Kilkenny game or the Galway game on Saturday night, not to go away from it. The goal, even the hand pass from TJ Reid was just so kind of clinical, straight to Uncody, bang, back to the net, right? If you look at Conor Whelan's pass on Saturday night, it looped up into the air, about 3 seconds to come back down, allowed Limerick to filter back, allowed Casey to get back on the line, put the hurl down, and yeah, it was lucky block. But still, that 3 seconds, lads, that's what it takes in big terms hurling. And even when the rebound from Owen Murphy's save, like, why not go for goal there? They needed a goal. Why not just go for it there? Remember Tommy Welch against Tipperary, against Cummins. Cummins made 2 or 3 saves off Martin Fogarty or Martin Comerford. I think Eddie Brennan got a shot, and Tommy still went for it, you know. So big games, you had to perform. And I just thought Clare gave away too many small mistakes, like missing frees, and the old the shooting. They haven't fixed that problem. They drove 23, 24 wides in the same fixture last year, albeit only 9 yesterday. So they did get to another level, but that Munster final drove an awful lot of wides, poor shot selection, and that's when the pressure's on, lads. That's when Kilkenny lads are in your faces and are making you kind of make decisions really, really quick, and they're not able to do it, and they made the bad choices. So it's the smallest of margins. It's composure on the ball. It's experience. It's a nervous energy. When you're winning, I suppose, all the time, I suppose if you look at Limerick, because they are winning, look, they have a little more composure, a little more belief. And when you're kind of coming from a team, maybe they haven't won anything in a long, long time, there's a nervous energy there, and that can make you do stupid things.
Just on that, you had that composure as well, Aidan. I don't know, winning brings that kind of composure, but when you haven't got over the line, there's an element of panic. Limerick don't panic generally now. They maybe, you know, even Pádraig Mannion's pull after Galan hitting the crossbar, probably a little bit of panic. Whereas, I don't know, does experience bring that composure, or does, you know, consistently winning bring that composure?
It does, yeah. No, I look, I was going to say culture kind of brings that composure as well. But definitely winning big matches and winning consistently brings that composure. And I think getting over the line in big games where you put to the pin of your collar and you come over the line, and you do it in a couple of games, like 1 or 2 games, you're like, oh my God, they got over the line. And even the crowd at Kilkenny just kind of knew that Kilkenny were going to turn up yesterday. Like lads are saying, God, will they beat Clare? I was thinking like Clare are an unknown entity. I know they came through Munster and we knew everything about them, but in Croke Park, Clare are an unknown entity. You just don't know whether they're going to kind of play or not play. Kilkenny, like, they're a very reliable team up in Croke Park, but it comes down to experience. It comes down to the character of a player. It comes down to kind of a cultural thing, and that takes time, lads.
Just a word on TJ Taggy. Like, he shouldn't really be doing what he's doing. Like, he's 36 in November. Like, even yesterday, I thought was nearly the old TJ, from the sense of, like, he was back in his 21 and back in his 45 and doing all the foraging and all that kind of crack. Like, it's amazing, really, that he's, you know, some days he doesn't score from play, but he still has as big of an impact on the game. And as you say, even that kind of killer hand pass, the line ball as well, when it was really needed. Like, I don't think he's really taken on line balls in recent years. He obviously is taking them on now again under Derek, but just it's phenomenal, really, what he's doing and still doing.
Lads, the performance CJ put in yesterday, it was exceptional. As you said, he was on the 14-yard line, clearing ball. He was catching ball out of the sky. He was bringing players into the game. He was getting his hooks. He was getting his blocks. He was up and down the field. He was immaculate on free taking, and then he put over a sideline ball just for the crack to make us 2 points up. You know, like just and he's just trotting around the place. You know, he's just kind of like doing his own thing. Even before the match started, he didn't even go around and parade. He went into the toilet in Croke Park there and trotted out. Then all the match is on. It's actually amazing what the man is doing. You know, a phenomenal hurler. As you said, he shouldn't be doing what he's doing. Lads are saying, God, will he retire? Will he not? I hope God he doesn't retire. Why would you retire when you're doing that still and being on the team? Like, it's absolutely amazing. Now we need him, but we need every bit of him. But he shouldn't be doing what he's doing. If anything, players like come to that age, they might be scoring maybe 1 or 2 points, and to be like the whole pressure's gone off him. But he's bringing that pressure nearly on him because of what he's doing. It was phenomenal. I don't think he scored from play yesterday, but it didn't matter. Like, they talk about one of the best performances Henry Shefflin ever did. I think it was the drawing game against Galway in 2012. He didn't score, but he just dragged Kilkenny back into it. That's what TJ Reid. I won't say drag him into it, but he was just doing it all over the place. Done it for 70 minutes, lads. It was crazy. It was just crazy what he was doing. Brilliant.
Just lastly on TJ, would he do a Messi and call it a day if Kilkenny won the All-Ireland?
God, it's a hard call, lads. TJ loves hurling. It's bred into him. He's from a club there, Ballyhale. It's just in their DNA. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see him retiring because I don't know what you said. Go out and top. No, he loves the game too much. He's playing too well. He's too much of an influence in the Kilkenny team still. I couldn't see it. And it comes down, like, I remember TJ coming in, he was like a schoolboy coming in, he'd be shouting at himself, putting balls over the bar and trying. Do you know when you're a young lad out the back and you're like, DJ, you're letting on to be DJ Kerr, and you put over the bar and you cheer yourself, go on. He was doing that in inter-county training. This is the madness of him. So.
What would he been saying? Like, TJ Reid on the ball, or this kind of crack?
He'd be commenting, TJ Reid over the bar, and he'd fist pump, and this is in the sideline before training starts. Like, the man loves the game, and I'm saying this in a good way, a positive way. Like, he just loves it. And at the same time, he was training, he was knocking balls over the bar, but he wouldn't be knocking them over on the 6th. He'd be going into the corner flag on the furthest little notch away on the field, and he'd be curving the ball over the bar, not just striking it over the bar. He'd be putting a spin on it, and he was challenging himself. But he was training at the same time. But that's the kid. Like, that's how much he loves the game. And look, he's just playing too well to retire for me. No way.
And another couple of weeks, how much better will Adrian Mullen be? And for a lad who hadn't hurled in a long time, and I think anyone who's broken their thumb, and obviously I'm not even sure which thumb it was, but like your hand very much seizes up when it's kind of locked into one position for a number of weeks. So for him to be able to be that dexterous, or whatever you want to say, when he's just come back, Taggy, that's no mean achievement.
No, it's not. Now, the only thing is breaking your thumb means you can do all the running. You can have your fitness up, which is a massive part of, getting back onto a team. Adrian Mullen's skill level was always very good. I obviously I've never heard of it, and so I don't know whether he needs to kind of come back and work on his touch, but by all accounts, he just has the natural ability. But he's going to be a way better hurler. He trained for the last week, but for training for last week, you're only poking around anyway. So that game is going to bring him on hugely. And he had a bigger influence on the game as well. And he's a big cog to that Kilkenny team. He really is. And you talk about him coming back, and you talk about Kilkenny as a whole. I think Derek has done a really good job in gelling that whole team together. The bench that he's after creating, they look really kind of, rejuvenated really in ways. Killian Buckley kind of didn't play for a long time in terms of big games. He was coming on, getting pieces here and there. He seems to be really rejuvenated. Walter Welch, the last day, came off the bench at 1-3. Richie Hogan even yesterday, obviously he looked like he caught for a little bit of pace, but still cute enough to win a free. Keane Kenny came on, got a point, and they seem to be just kind of really, I won't say happy to come off the bench. Nobody's happy to come off the bench, but kind of really I'm going to do a job here. I'm going to do a job for this team because we're gelled together. And then he's kind of thrown in a Blanchfield wing back, really have to come to the fore, albeit he was there last couple of years, but he gave him his chance. Tom Phelan's at the slotting in there, wing forward, probably for his pace and kind of aerial ability. Billy Drennan got injured, unlucky during the year. He has him on the panel, Timmy Clifford. So I think he has a really good place, lads. All in all, as a whole, that Kilkenny team is gelled well. And I think the Leinster final brought him on massively in terms of spirit. Obviously, I haven't seen Kilkenny kind of celebrate a final like that in a long, long time. And even management, even. Now, I know this was the manner and the way they won it last buck of the game. But, they're out, obviously, Sunday night, Monday. They had a little break. They would have gelled together, really, really good spirit in that camp, I think.
Taggy, if Kilkenny do win this All-Ireland, considering how muted it was in 2015, because, obviously you'd won so many at that stage, there was barely, it felt like it was, there wasn't too much celebrating. It'd be the last days of Rome down in around Langtons and the left bank and all of that if you do win this one.
Stop, lads, to be epic. As if we haven't won one in a while. And just to wet the fingers, I suppose, or whatever. Like, they're going for 4 in a row. The last team to do it was Kilkenny. And who's in the final now to stop them doing the 4 in a row if they can? Only Kilkenny. So there you go. There's a bit of appetite straight away. Now, I know the Kilkenny team won't be using it and management won't be saying it, but look, it's in the back of the heads. I remember playing Cork all those years ago. They're going for 3 in a row. It wasn't really been said, but we didn't want them doing it, lads. And that's sport. You want to keep these titles. I think it was Gary Neville. He was interviewed about Man City, about the treble. And he was like, look, lads, I'm not really that happy. Quality team, but I don't know. I wanted that title for myself, So, look, it'll be absolutely brilliant. Now, if Limerick win it, it'll probably be one of the greatest All-Irelands ever to be won. Like, to come out of that Munster campaign, to be under pressure in terms of kind of injuries. The media kind of even were against them at times. Are they the Limerick of old, or have they lost their aura a small bit? And if they win it, and the teams that they're after beating along the way, it'll be one of the best of Ireland's ever. But Kilkenny, being Kilkenny, they're after sneaking up out of nowhere. I suppose it's probably the Leinster thing. It's all about Munster for the first couple of weeks, and then you have Kilkennys and Galways, which can compete with any Munster team, in my opinion. And look, they're after sneaking into an All-Ireland final again, and could probably maybe even in a better position than they were last year in winning this game, in terms of kind of bench-wise, in terms of their style of play. You'd be hoping, and probably showed yesterday, that they won't panic and just lump ball down on top of a serious full back line in Limerick, that they're able to play it through the lines a little bit better. And when I say play it through the lines, in big matches, when the pressure is on, not in league games when they're 10 points up, when the pressure is on, have that little bit of composure of doing the 50-50 thing and keeping the heads. And they seem to be, just by yesterday's performance, they seem to be that little bit better than last year.
Derek made that point, Taggy, that Kilkenny were brave yesterday even when the game was going against them and it looked like momentum was going against them, that they stayed doing what he wanted them to do. Obviously, that they didn't throw out the playbook or whatever. And that's kind of, sure, yourself from it on the pitch, the easiest thing to do when things are going wrong is just, lorry it in or do the exact opposite of what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, no, the easy thing to do is the panic, and that's probably when you're under pressure, and sometimes it's just to get rid of the ball because you don't want to be caught in possession. But I suppose, look, there's two sides of it, lads. If you look at the goal yesterday and the goal that was given away by Clare, Eva Quinlan tried to run it out, give it to Rory Hayes, caught in possession and a goal. If he'd lumped that ball long, that goal probably wouldn't have happened. But then he'd be saying, why are they hitting the ball down long to that serious full back line of Kilkenny? So fine lines, fine margins, but I do think Kilkenny are playing the system a little bit better. They're more confident, is probably the word I'm looking for, in playing that system in the bigger games. And against Limerick, you're going to have to mix it both ways, and we can mix it both ways now. I think, you know, we all know our strengths of work rate, you know, hooking and blocking, the aerial battle, but now I think we do kind of have that little composure in terms of, and even the freedom in the team. You know, the likes of Mikey Butler going up to a full forward line and taking a shot on goal. Blanchfield is edging kind of up the field, so I think he's given him a little bit of freedom to move up and down the field, albeit keep your shape, but, you know, have that freedom to roam around and pop up in certain positions. And even Mikey Butler, say, for instance, yesterday, man marking Tony Kennelly. And next thing, Mikey Butler is tearing down on the clear goal and Tony Kennelly is chasing them. You know, that was just a great, looking from a sports point of view, that we're still taking the challenge to, and Mikey Butler was taking the challenge to Tony Kelly. Chase me. I know I'm man marking you, but chase me down, you know.
Yeah, there's a good question here from 36 and counting, which might be one of your fellow county men, I'd say. He said, ask Taggy how much would his KK team beat this Limerick team by? A lovely little question to throw at you.
Lads, look, I don't know, I want 2 scoreboards there. It'll be definitely 10 or 11 points in it towards the end. Sure, Sean Finch, I 1-3 off Sean Finn, would be no problem. You heard it here first. If he was fit. I know, well, to be a serious, like, even on matchups, that's like to be a serious help. Could you imagine Tommy Welch chomping at the bit, going out to Mark Tom Morrissey? There'd be no control in the man.
I can imagine him pulling that ponytail, actually.
Yeah.
Detox 101 says, if Limerick win it this year and next year, will Taggy wear a t-shirt saying, I was a member of the second best team of all time?
Well, I tell you, if there's a couple of pints in it, maybe you would know, sure. Like, I'm always up for a little bit of crack, you know, a little bit of banter. So he's not even talking about 4 in a row. He's talking about 5 in a row, is he?
Yeah. He is.
Lads, they've lost it straight away, lads.
Hey, a brief aside there, I mean, a comment in, but I only was made aware of it yesterday. At the moment, Killian Buckley's wedding is slated for the day before the All-Ireland final.
Oh, lads, it's dead right. Tommy Welch after the game, first thing he said to me, Killian Buckley. That's what he said. Just said Killian Buckley. He didn't say anything else. And I said, I know. And he goes, it's a disaster, lads. You know, God, the wife, what's she thinking, you know? And Killian Buckley being who he is, you know, I'd be surprised if he turns up himself, to be honest, lads, you know. That's
at the wedding or the match?
At the wedding. He'd be definitely at the match. But that's the type of fella he is. He takes it so serious. He loves it. And he, you know, he'd be thinking this is an awful thing for himself in his own mentality. You know, that's just the type. And I'm not like, this is a good thing, obviously, but he just loves it. And look, he'd be inviting us to the wedding. Will they go? Will they eat the dinner with the gravy? You know, the mashed potatoes before the game. Is that the diet that Noreen Roach wants them had them on the day before? And Ireland, the biggest day of their lives. You know, so there's a lot of things to think about. And even it's like, how do teams prepare? How do players prepare for matches? I know I didn't want to be meeting anybody the day before because that'd be asking questions. And you know, it can be draining talking about a match sometimes, and sometimes it can be drained. And it's happened. You talk about the game, the build up so much that nearly you land on the field and you're like, it's the energy just gone out yet. You know, you can nearly have the game lost before it even starts. So, like, every individual is different. Lads are going to be talking about the match started beforehand. And is that good for players? I don't know. So, I don't know whether they can call it off or put it off till Sunday night or something. I don't know, lads. But, yeah, it's a tricky one. I don't know how they're going to work it.
Hey, look, I'm getting slated here. John McAuliffe says, listen to most of the podcast, Shane, but you really do hate Limerick. Constantly focus on our way to criticise us. Poor punditry. Hashtag Peter Casey and Nicky Quaid. Jeez, I'm getting off. I actually have no problem with Limerick at all. Like, they're the new money, whereas, you know, Cork and Kilkenny are the old money. I save my hatred for ye, Taggy, but, you know, obviously all in a good way. It's all good rivalry.
Look, we know there's a hatred between Kilkenny and Tip, but that's okay. We're okay with it.
Yeah. We'd be sickened to see you win. I want Limerick to win this game.
Yeah, I met Shane McGrath before the match yesterday. You know, we're just talking about kind of old times and stuff, and he was like, he said it was exactly what he said. You go, no, it's great to be involved in all them Ireland's and semi-finals and stuff, you know. And he came straight out. Look, we know we hate you, like, but like off the field we kind of go on. And we're like, yeah, no, 100%. And likewise, we hate you, but it's a good, friendly, healthy kind of a relationship, you know.
It's a healthy hatred. That's what it is.
It's a healthy hatred, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I suppose, and it's like Clare, even the game yesterday and the build-up, we're not a neighbouring county to Clare, so straight away there's an atmosphere kind of gone. That takes away from the game, you know. When you're not a rivalry, when you're not a bordering county, you know, there's no kind of, like, down South Kilkenny you have Waterford, North Kilkenny you have Tip, and then you know, you have kind of Cork, I suppose, near enough to the west side. So it always helps when you're a neighbouring county.
Did you have this? What was your feeling for Cork like? And like, obviously they haven't won for a number of years, but was that more of a well, we don't hate you, but love you, but we hate you, but we hate you.
Are you talking about my hatred of Cork, or are you talking about how they went this year?
But in general, like, how do you feel about Cork? Is it the same way as you do about Tip, or is there a bit more of poison in there?
No, I'd say I won't say my hatred, but I suppose we're not neighbouring that much. See, I'm living right in the border, lads, and we're farmers, and half our land, the boggy bit of our land.
You went to school in Tip, didn't you?
I did. I went to school in CBS and Thurles, yeah. But the land, half our land is in Tip. The boggy part, I'd say, is in Tipperary. The old
barren land.
The old barren land. But wouldn't build a house on that land now, I tell you. So yeah, so look, I would have seen it. And my own uncle, Pat Dillon there, he would have hurled against Tipperary, that great Tipperary team. And down to the years I've been in his house and he was talking, and he had a hatred of Tip now, but he played a Tipperary team with the cauldron of them backs. I can't even mention their name. Hell's Kitchen, that's who it was. And by God, they went through some battle. So I suppose that's where I pick up a little bit more hatred for Tip. But I have obviously great respect for God Almighty. And as I said, like, geez, we're best of buddies off the field, but on the field. But Cork, I went to college in Cork. Went to college with Gardner, all them guys. Great respect for them as well. But as I said, lads, when it comes down to hurling and trying to get over and win matches, everything goes out the window, and you do everything you can to win match.
Michael,
that's a fact. Yeah, just I let you go on this one, Aidan, but just looking at the All Ireland final, like, do you see Kilkenny adopting a similar approach to last year? They kind of went all out last year, which meant it was a real high scoring game, but they weren't able to contain Limerick. Do you think they'll have learned much from that? How do you see it going? Limerick are obviously heavy enough favourites going into the final. Yeah,
look, Limerick will be absolute favourites going to the final. God, I thought you'd give me 24 hours to enjoy the clear one anyway, lads.
I came in the other day after playing Senior B with Burr. We won it.
Scored 2 points.
Yeah, I missed about 2-5. But the Senior A manager came in straight away and said, lads, we're parking this now. We're back training Monday night. And it's like, geez, I want to enjoy this for a couple of days, boys.
Yeah, exactly. I want to enjoy this moment for at least 24 hours. But look, they're a different entity. They're a different animal. I think the approach will be similar to last year. And I suppose what I spoke, not to be kind of going on about what I said, but I think they're in a better place in terms of the short ball and that short game. That let us down last year big time, kind of lumping ball down into the Limerick full back line. Our puck-out strategy, if we had one last year, if you remember, we lumped ball down on that half back line and didn't get a lot of fruition out of it. So our puck-out strategy seems to be a little bit better. So I'll be hoping them two factors will bring us a long, long way. There was only a puck of a ball or 2 pucks of a ball in it at the final whistle. But I think we'll have to go all out, lads. I think if you're holding back or if you're kind of making strategies for this Limerick team, you have to play it on your own terms. And I think, they will sit down and they will look at Limerick the way they play it. But if you look at another team too much, and maybe that's what Brian Lohan did yesterday, and if you make too many changes in your own way of playing and your own strategy, it'll feed into the opposition, I think, and you're not playing on your own terms. And maybe that's what Brian Lohan did. He said, look, we can't handle Kilkenny up front, we'll put back a sweeper, and I came back to bite him. So I think it'll be 15-15, it'll be all out, but I think we're in a different place in terms of our maturity in possession, not panicking on the ball, and we have a little bit more guile about us, and our bench is a little bit stronger. So I'll be giving us a little bit more of a chance than we did maybe last year. But it'll be a titanic tussle, and they are the kingpins, and they are in finals, and they are so hard to beat. So it'll be interesting.
Just on that as well, Kylie's never lost the final as well. You know, imagine the time to beat him would be would be going for the 4 in a row. I think this would be number 13, maybe unlucky 13. You never know.
Yeah, look.
Could be 4 All-Ireland final losses in a row for Kilkenny, Taggy.
That's it, lads. But like, you talk about losses and you talk about not winning our Irelands, lads, we have to come up against a great Limerick team. And you talk about maybe that Kilkenny team, Tipperary probably should have more All-Irelands. Maybe Cork should have more All-Irelands. But when you come up against a really, really good team and one of the best teams of all time, you're going to lose out and win All-Irelands. And that's just the fact of it, you know?
Here's a good one, Taggy. Peter Gowan says, Kilkenny want a bad, rainy, windy day with the grass high, no triangles or tippy-tappy tactics. The Kilkenny spirit will come true. A real miserable day like 99.
God almighty, we'll have to bring back a few players then as well, a few Mullickers, a few Hendersons and a few Delaney's. We'll have to throw them in as well then.
Taggy, brilliant stuff. Really appreciate you joining us and enjoy the win.
Thanks, lads. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Taggy. Come on.